Welcome back, and as you can see, we're not in the garden this week. We're not outside the studio. It's taking shape, lads.
It's looking good, although we're lacking a few essential office accoutrements, like a desk and some chairs.
Yeah.
But we've got a plant.
Yes.
We've got plants.
Thank you for noticing, Donovan.
Yes.
We have some pot plants and we have 2 sofas.
And a bar.
Yes.
Well, obviously a bar. Yeah, that's the first thing.
So there you go.
OK, talking about first things, the Suzuki GSX-R1000 that we had down the drag strip, well...
we didn't actually have that.
No, we didn't.
You didn't see that.
It doesn't exist yet.
Yes. Supposedly it doesn't exist, and that bike is definitely not in South Africa yet. A bike that no one is allowed to ride.
Especially us.
Yes.
So we didn't ride it, and we're not going to talk about it now.
Nah, but we gave you a little teaser before the ad break. We saw what it could do in a straight line, but being the shady people that we are, somehow we managed to get this non-rideable bike to Red Star the next day. But before we take a look at the future, let's take a look at the past and see how we got to this point right now.
Suzuki have had a GSX-R model in the range since 1985, but back then it was a 750. The 1100 came along in 1986, and the 2 models ran side by side, with the 600cc model joining them in 1997. By 98, the 1100 had gone, and it was 3 years before Suzuki followed the lead set by Honda and later Yamaha into the Lita Superbike class. 2001 saw the first GSX-R1000, and like the Honda Fireblade, the bike was only a few kilograms heavier than its 600cc sister. 160 brake horsepower and 170 kilograms dry immediately put it into the top league. In 2003, the bike received its first makeover, and particular attention was paid to weight, power and handling. It lost a couple of kilos, gained a couple of horses, and the chassis was stiffer and the brakes better. 2005 and the next significant re-engineer, resulting in a further weight loss and power hike, 2 kilograms less and 16 more horses, bringing it to 166 kilograms and 178 brake horsepower. By comparison, Honda's Fireblade, that had been in production for 13 years, could only muster 172 brake horsepower and weighed 179 kilograms dry. On to 2007, and another significant re-engineer that sees the GSX-R1000 gain a few kilograms for the first time, 6 kilograms to be exact, most of which was accounted for by the new exhaust system and emissions equipment. To counter this, Suzuki made the aerodynamics slippier and upped the power yet again to 185 brake horsepower, this time incorporating 3 engine mapping modes, Sport, Standard and Wet, for the first time. By 2009, the GSX-R seemed to be stagnating, especially in the face of the imminent BMW S1000RR and its fancy electronics package. Even an updated GSX-R1000 in 2012 still hadn't got ABS or traction control. Fast forward to 2017, and the next chapter of the GSX-R1000 is about to be written.
OK, so we managed to get some corners thrown at the GSX-R. What do we reckon, lads?
It does go round them.
Hang on, can I just point something out? First of all, the straight bits, Talton. OK, when you ride that thing, now you know when you ride a 1000cc superbike, you accelerate in first gear, what happens?
It does this.
It tries to kill you, that's exactly right. And you have to short shift for about 3 years before you can actually accelerate. Did you find that when you accelerated in first gear on that bike, it magically went forward without trying to go up?
Yeah, it did take me by surprise. I was thinking that was going to be really difficult to launch.
Is that not just electronics, though? Is that not anti-wheelie?
No, I mean, we had the traction control off for the Talton.
Yeah, completely off.
Ah.
Yeah.
So they've now, well, what have they done? I know they've lengthened, they've put the engine a bit further forward, haven't they?
No, they put the engine further forward, and they've lengthened the swing arm by a whole 40 millimeters.
And it doesn't leap up through the gears as you'd expect, which is almost a little bit underwhelming, isn't it?
Yeah.
But especially at the same time, because that motor screams up to 14 and a half,
14
something
and a half,
like that,
yeah.
and it really shifts at the top end. We have recently, Don and I, ridden the Fireblade. We shouldn't draw direct comparisons until the head-to-head, but my gut feeling says the Blade might have it on the mid-range, but the Suzuki's top end
but it's got that I forget what it's, CVTV, XYZ, variable
mechanical
no,
variable
it works like a
valve.
scooter clutch, where as it accelerates, those little balls move out, magically make more horsepower.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what
I had a
happens.
feeling that might be to swell the mid-range, but it isn't. It's
No, it
definitely
isn't.
for the
What they
peak
actually did, they've
horsepower,
got the same mid-range, just more top end.
more top end as a result.
Exactly.
So, yeah, it screams it incredibly quick. In terms of the corners, as you were about to say, you had a spin on the GSX-R. OK, look, you're our average to quick rider, now you're a racer. How did it feel?
It felt amazing. It was so easy to get so comfortable on it straight away.
Yes.
A couple of laps just to warm the tyres up, and then you could do it.
I'm going to say this much. I mean, we've all done about 1 billion laps of Red Star, and it's all muscle memory now, am I right?
Yes.
You sort of come to the corner, you're not even paying attention, you brake, you just know at about this speed, you put about this much force in the handlebars, and it goes there. Did that with the GSX-R, and I nearly hit the grass on the inside.
It turns really quickly.
It does turn incredibly quickly, which is kind of counterintuitive to what we found on the straights, is that it won't rear up, it feels stable.
Traditionally, GSX-Rs are meant to be a massive horsepower engine, very stable, don't try and turn.
Yeah, but this feels seriously agile, like as agile as any of the bikes in the class. Almost twitchy, but not quite. And combine that corner entry with, it's got Brembo brakes on it now. Wow. They were absolutely stunning.
Feel and
But that's the interesting
progressive.
thing. I mean, Brembos don't give you more braking; they just give you better feel,
Better finesse. Yeah,
exactly.
So you can do things like trail brake deeper into the turn. Utterly brilliant. What would we say about the looks? Sorry, I mean this is the one area where
it's a bit bland.
it is a little bit bland.
That
isn't
front
it?
end is a bit.
Can I say it's a
10
bit
years,
sort of old-fashioned?
The whole headlight treatment is 10 years out of date, isn't it?
And build quality and level of finish. I mean, it's good.
It's good.
This is going to be a 250,000 rand motorcycle. But
Oh, here we go.
look, if you look closely compared to a Honda or a Yamaha or even a BMW, it isn't quite there as far as I'm concerned. Fit and finish, it isn't quite as there. That's not to say you wouldn't buy it or anything. It's just if you're really contrasting details, then I don't think it measures up.
One thing I did notice, it's actually really comfortable.
Yeah, you do. You sit very
Doing
sort
a
of
lot
in
of
it. You don't
laps,
sit
and I
up
didn't
like
get off
this.
going, because it's a sport bike, it is an extreme riding position. I didn't get off going, ooh, It was
Okay, the version that's going to come to South Africa will not have any fancy electronic suspension, will not actually have a quick shifter.
Well, it is an option.
It is an option that we understand, whereas, yes, okay, we didn't get to test that, unfortunately. We didn't get to test the full electronics package, because there's a GSX-R.
Which is really confusing.
Okay, then let's just take a look at the hard numbers. We'll bring the spec box up, the Iron Horse spec box, and power. What do we got?
199, they're claiming.
Yes,
That's at the
199
crank,
horsepower.
probably.
Yeah,
but it's the same as all of them. It's in the ballpark.
Yeah.
They're all to make it
But you
200
can't really,
horsepower.
you can't really look at those, these horsepower figures these days, because if they do make too much horsepower, they're not going to say so, because then the EU is going to close them down. It's true. So we have no idea.
I tell you what, it did feel spectacularly light, but I had a quick look at the numbers and
202, 203 kilos.
203, that's 7 more than the new Fireblade.
and it's actually heavier than the Fireblade.
It's slightly heavier than the R1, but it is lighter than the ZX-10 and the S1000RR.
It's weird. Again, you can't just tell by the sheer numbers, because to me it felt noticeably lighter and kind of more flickable than some of the other bikes, but it isn't. Again, it's just how they put those things together. So, gentlemen, what do we reckon? Can't wait to get them all head-to-head, that's for sure.
For goodness sake, that'd be fantastic. Well, what are we going to get head-to-head? I mean...
Well, let's just concentrate on the four-cylinder bikes. Honda Fireblade, we just ridden. They're a very close match. Suzuki, a little bit raw and rough and a wide boys. Like Suzuki's always have been.
Yeah, they'd be a bit mental,
GSX-R
haven't
has
they?
to be a GSX-R.
It's quite a manly bike.
Yes, exactly. Fireblade, same sort of performance, but just refined and a little bit more gentlemanly.
ZX-10?
A bit like the GSX-R in a way.
Yeah,
Same
lots
sort
of
attitude.
engine, maybe not quite the handling, but lots of engine.
S1000RR?
That at the moment for me is almost the perfect all-rounder, whether it's track or road. Again, a big engine, incredible electronics package. And then there's the R1, which has got that fantastic motor. Not necessarily in terms of outright power, but just sounds wonderful.
It sounds spectacular.
Beautifully put together, brilliant on the track. Feels slightly long and, I was going to say cumbersome, that's too harsh, but slow to... It feels like the Ducati of the four-cylinder bikes now, the R1. So... we did nothing. We're just pontificating now. You're going to have to hang around. Hopefully in the next month or so we'll be able to get these bikes together, give you a definitive verdict. So that's it for now. We'll be back after the break with some news.